Hey, I have been gone for a while. I actually haven't been doing a lot, like that makes it me like too busy or anything, but I just haven't had enough time to do a review of anything. Um, I don't know why. I guess the time I was free, I just didn't feel like it. But I'll just go right into this review. I'm reviewing Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I saw this uh wait, 2 nights ago, and then I saw it again tonight because my family hadn't seen it and I went with them. Um, so I love the Harry Potter books. I've read 3 through 7, and I've skimmed through 1 and 2, and I know the stories of both of them. Um, Great series. I really enjoy this series. I think they're all really great. But going on to the movie. Uh, this is the sixth film in out of 7 that they're doing. Well, they're doing 8 because they're splitting the seventh one up in 2, which a lot of you already probably know. But anyways, uh, basically what's going on is everyone knows that Voldemort's back, and Harry is trying to figure out basically what's going on. There are some new teachers. Slughorn, who's taken over the job for potions for Snape, and Snape is doing Defense Against the Dark Arts. And basically, Dumbledore is pretty much bugging him. Not really bugging him because Harry wants to know stuff, but he's basically Dumbledore's basically telling him what's going on. What really goes on during most of the book and the movie is they're going through the memories of Tom Riddle when he was younger, going up to so more of Voldemort's backstory, and that's a big portion of the movie. In the movie, there's a lot of this is the movie like that has a lot to do with the characters growing up. And there's a lot about them, with they get into the relationships of the characters now, and that is a big portion of the movie. The other kind of cool thing is in this movie, this is probably the darkest movie. They get darker and darker every time, but there are certain parts where it's really dark, and then there are certain parts where it's just fine, and it's funny, and there's a lot of comedy in this one, a lot more than the other ones, I think. And it all works together. Put it all together, it's all really great. They I want to talk about the cutting out of things. People underrate this movie because they say that it's ridiculous how they had to take out all that stuff. Now, I agree with them in certain points, and I agree with them a lot, not at all. You can't have a 5-hour movie. I'm sorry. It's you have to cut it down. You just can't fit it all in. I myself consider these movies separate from the books. I prefer the books, but I love the movies too. But I don't compare them because I understand it's harder to make stories in movie than in book, because book you can tell more and explain more. But and I just think it's ridiculous how people are not liking the movie because of that. If you really want to know all of it, just read the book. And if you want to see the book come to life, go to the movie. And you don't have to read the books to understand the story of Harry Potter, all 7. You don't have to. It's just it explains a little more. And so I think that's a little ridiculous. But I guess if you're a diehard Harry Potter fan, I guess I would understand. Agreeing with them now. There's a scene they add in the movie, and it's where Bellatrix Lestrange and a few other Death Eaters come down and they go to the burrow where Harry is at, and they basically do this big fire scene, and then they blow up the burrow. Basically, I'm going to be spoiling this. I already kind of spoiled it. If you don't want to hear any more, please exit out. But I usually spoil things anyways. But they blow up the burrow, and the thing is about that, they kind of need that for the next story. So, I mean, they'll probably figure out a way to get by it. But the thing is I think one of the reasons I heard why they did it was because they wanted to have more action in the movie. If you wanted to have more action, you didn't have to cut out the big at the end of the film. When Malfoy gets more Death Eaters to come to the school through the Vanishing Closet, there's actually a big battle that takes place. There's between the teachers and the Death Eaters, and that's a big action scene. So they didn't really need. If they wanted to add an action scene, they really didn't have to for this one, because they could have just put in that battle scene instead of blowing up the burrow for no reason. But I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm trying to figure out what they might do instead, or if they're gonna just rebuild it or something. But I thought that was a little dumb, just because they could have just put in that scene of them fighting in the school. But whatever. This coming up to more spoilers. This movie ends more on a down note. Dumbledore dies, and it's kind of on a cliffhanger. If you haven't read the books, like my dad, he hasn't read any of the books, and he just watches the movies. And after the movie, he's like, "Man, I can't believe you left me on a cliffhanger." And I was like, "Well, you can read the book." And he's like, "Nah." But it's kind of a cliffhanger. Basically, Harry is not going to go back to Hogwarts the next year. He's going to finish out what Dumbledore started and try and destroy all the Horcruxes. And nobody knows what happened, if who's taking over for Dumbledore, who's gonna be the headmaster, headmistress. You don't know what Harry's gonna do. You don't know what's gonna happen next, and so this is basically setting up for the seventh film. I'm gonna say the seventh film, not like part 1 or part 2. I'm just gonna say the seventh film. It's setting up for the seventh film, and that's basically what this is. And all the stuff that you see in this film, there's more of, and extended. I hope so, at least. I already saw some screenshots or production photos from it. If you go to Google and just search Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows movie shots or something, you can actually see them. And they're not that revealing, but they are there, so you know that they're working on stuff. But I'm really excited for the next 2 movies. Quick warning to people who haven't seen don't know what happens next. The first part of this movie might be a little boring. Of the next movie, the Deathly Hallows Part 1, it might be a little boring. If you don't want to listen to the rest of this, because it's going to spoil some of the 7th book to you, turn down your volume for a little bit, or just back out. Because in the first, more than half of the 7th book is really just Harry camping out and learning kind of more of Dumbledore's backstory, and learning about basically just sitting in a tent and figuring out what's going on next. So it might be a little more boring than the second part, 'cause the second part ends everything. But anyways, I thought this was a great movie. I suggest you go see it. I didn't care about the missing parts to it, so go see this movie.